What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your man Chazz Ellis once again. I'm live. For some of y'all, I had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, hopefully, y'all have found me. If not, sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm gonna talk today about dating past the age of 30. I have a lot of people now who've been watching me for several years. Back in the day, you was in your 20s. Some of y'all was in your teens when y'all started watching me. And now, some of y'all who are in your 20s are now in your 30s. Some of y'all who are in your 30s now in your 40s, which is wild. But we here, right? We here. We together in this. Make sure y'all hit me in the chat. For some of y'all who want to talk to your man Chazz Ellis, make sure y'all hit me in the chat. Make sure y'all say what's up to me when y'all get on here, cause I like people to say what's up to me. You know what I'm saying? That make me feel good, and I like to talk back to y'all. I appreciate some of y'all been with me for years and years and years, rocking with your boy. But so when we talk about this, it's a really sensitive subject for a lot of people, especially when we talk about age and dating. Because when you talk about age and dating, people start getting offended. Men, women, uh, family members, people start getting offended because nobody wants to feel like things should change in terms of the way they date just because they've gotten a little bit older. Nobody wants to feel that way because you cannot go back in time. You feel me? You can't go back and be 20, 21, 22 years old. You can't go back and be 30 once you've gotten to be 40. You can't go back and be in your teens. So a lot of times we can't obviously we can't unhave children if we have them. There's a lot of things in life that we've done along the way and we feel like we're better for it. And then somebody comes along and says, well, because you're this age or because this is your current situation, you can no longer ask for or expect the same things out of a relationship that you once did. So I'm going to be sensitive to that, but we're going to talk about this and it's going to be real and honest. And hopefully we can get this working for all of y'all in the best way possible. So when it comes to relationships past the age of 30 and what you're expecting from those relationships, do you expect to get married? Do you want to have somebody to take care of you financially? Do you want to have a partner where y'all split all the bills? And you might want to take care of somebody financially. Who knows? But these are the things that you have to start figuring out when you get a little older and you want to move forward with relationships. So when you're 30 years old plus, and sometimes it may even be 25 or something, if you're looking for a relationship where you have somebody financially taking care of you, the question that you want to ask yourself in that situation is, if I want somebody taking care of me financially, what is that person going to be like based on what I want and what I need from a relationship? What I need to take care of me financially. So, say you're 30 years old, just turned 30, fresh into 30. You say, you know what? I decided I want a man that's gonna take care of me financially, gonna pay my bills, pay everything. You gotta be realistic and ask yourself, first thing, who is this person based on the bills that I have? A lot of people like, a real man will provide. And you're thinking 1925. See, 1925, you would not be 30, first of all. You'd be in your teens or early 20s. And you would have certain bills that anybody with a job could pay. Now, in 2024, you got to be real with yourself about the bills that you actually have and what type of person you're going to need to pay those bills. So ask yourself real questions. Okay, first of all, what is my baseline? The baseline that I need as far as being able to eat the food that I normally eat, live in the space that I normally live in, drive the car that I normally drive, and be able to wear the clothes that I normally wear and be entertained in the way that I'm normally entertained. Because you're probably not going to want to get married or get in a relationship with somebody who's taking care of you and downgrade all of the things that you currently have. That's unrealistic. So, what is your financial situation looking like? Do you have student loans? Do you have debt? Because these are things that you're going to have to pay. Obviously, you're going to want to have some type of health insurance. Probably going to want to have some type of life insurance. Do you have children? Now, without all the emotion involved, get on your little computer, get on your little calculator, make a spreadsheet, whatever you need to do, and say, what does this person have to make? If you make $60,000 a year right now, and you want somebody who's going to be able to take care of you financially, the minimum that they're going to need to make is going to be $120,000. Because in order to support your lifestyle, the one you've been living all this time, off $60,000, and let's be real, you probably don't have a whole lot of extra money left over. To support the lifestyle that you've been living, they're going to need to be able to support their lifestyle, which is probably going to be, at least yours, and your lifestyle. And if you're deciding that you want to have children at some point in time with this person, now they have to also be able to support the lifestyle of the future children you're going to have. So this is another thing you got to think about. What is my dream life and what does it look like? Is my dream life being at the crib, having 3 kids, and washing somebody's clothes, cooking them breakfast, making lunch for them to take to work, cooking dinner when they come home, making sure I'm washing the dishes and all this old stuff, taking care of the kids at the crib, and not going to work? Is that my dream lifestyle? Is that what I've built my life up to thus far? These are things that somebody who is 18, 19 years old doesn't really have to think about because they haven't really built a life. If you're 18, 19 years old, you may have a year or two of college unless you like some super smart. We talking about just a regular person. You probably haven't gone through college yet. 18, 19 years old. You high school, maybe a little bit of college. You haven't built any work experience, not at a real gig. Unless you play in the NBA or something like that. You haven't built work experience at a real gig. So when you're 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, most of the time it's a lot easier to make this decision because there's none to be made. You don't have years and years of college that you done put in. You don't have years and years of work that you done put in to build up a certain life. So saying, would I want to be at home taking care of some kids and all that kind of stuff, it's like, well, I don't have anything else, so of course, that's cool with me. But when you've built a life, you might have gone to law school. You might have gone to medical school. You might be an engineer. You might have a doctorate. You might, what I'm saying? There's so many things you could have already done with your life. And now, as a grown-ass adult who's in their 30s, 40s, or more, you got to decide that you want to quit your job and live off of whatever someone else can provide. And for some of you, you're like, well, I'm not planning on doing that. Now comes the question. If that's not what you're planning on doing and that's not your ideal lifestyle, why is that so far up on your priority list in terms of who you're willing to date? I hear women talking about, if I got to go 50-50, I'd rather be single. If a man ain't going to pay all my bills, I'd rather be by myself. Really? If you want to work at the job that you have and that's what you feel, you want to work in the career field that you have and that's what you feel, that really doesn't make any sense. Because if that's the case, what have you worked for all this time? What has been the point of going to work if you still have to make the same decisions as somebody who doesn't have the same career path that you do? Somebody who just works on fries at McDonald's. See, I get if you work on fries at McDonald's and you're saying the person that I pick has to be in a position where they can take care of me 100% financially. First of all, you work at McDonald's, so it's not going to be that hard to find somebody who doubles or even triples what you make on fries at McDonald's. I'm not trying to be funny, nothing wrong if you do work at McDonald's and you're on fries, nothing wrong with that. But in reality, it's not that difficult to find somebody who doubles or triples what you make on fries at McDonald's. Let's call it what it is. So if that's the case, and it's easy to find somebody who doubles or triples what you make on fries at McDonald's, the decisions that you have to make in terms of your relationships are not going to be as difficult. That's why you see people who are in that position. I ain't trying to be with somebody going 50-50. I'd rather work 3 jobs, because that's a real situation for them. They've got to work 3 jobs in order to take care of themselves in a lot of cases. So they are like, if I can't find somebody who is going to take care of me completely, then I still got to work 1 of these crappy jobs that I have, or maybe even 2 of these crappy jobs that I have. So for them, they see their relationship as not being worth it. But when you're already you make 6 figures yourself, working at a good job that you actually like, you're in a career, you're in something that you actually put your life, your heart and soul into, why on earth would you take the same dating strategy as somebody who didn't graduate from high school? And no disrespect if you didn't, you should get a GED or something like that. But no disrespect if you didn't, but that's the reality of it. You're taking the same dating strategy. So it's not about whether or not you should expect to have a provider at the age of 30. It's asking yourself a real question. First of all, why at the age of 30, 40, 50, am I still in a position where I need somebody to take care of me financially? These are real questions you got to ask yourself if that's your situation. Why is it? What have I been doing? Because you got to understand, when you start trying to find somebody to take care of you, they're going to ask these same questions. Why is it that at the age of 30, 40, 50, 60, are you still in a position where you have to ask somebody, or you have to find somebody who can take care of you financially? What have you been doing with the last 20 years of your life? What have you been doing with the last 30 years of your life? What have you been doing with the last, in some cases, 40 years of your life? These are real questions that you can get upset. You can try to use shaming tactics, but you have to be able to answer them. It's not about whether you want it or don't want that. There's nothing wrong with whatever you want, but you have to ask yourself real questions. If this is what I want, how do I find someone who can provide it? And how do I deal with this person once I find them? How do I justify it, not to the world, but to them? If I'm over here looking for somebody who's a provider, because this is the real, if you're looking for somebody who's a provider, who's halfway decent to look at, who's halfway decent to talk to and deal with, and they're 40 years old, chances are they already married. They're going to provide for somebody. They're halfway decent as far as their physical appearance. And even some of y'all want somebody that's good looking as far as their appearance. So if that's the case, you got to start asking yourself a real question. This is what I'm looking for, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. What's the chance that this person is even single? This is when people start talking about there are no good men out there. This is when people start talking about, the dating pool has dried up. Yeah, because what you're looking for is what everybody was looking for when they were in their 20s. And they already snatched those people up in their 20s. So now you're fighting for a small pool, especially when you have lived a lifestyle where you have bills that only somebody who makes good money can support. if you're six figures and you're saying, here, I need somebody to take care of me financially, that's what I'm looking for as a man to provide. Let's be real. You're not going to be like, here, provide me an apartment to live in. You're going to be like, provide me, 3, 4, 5,000 square foot home. You're going to be like, provide me, because you're going to want at least what you have and probably a little bit more. That's going to be a lot. You're going to need somebody who's in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. That is a small percentage of the population. Then they need to be single. Nobody else snatched that person up. So then they need to be single and not crazy. They need to be single and not intolerable. That's difficult. It's not whether or not you should want these things. It's how do you go about it when you're dealing with such a small market? There is such a small group of people that you have to fight for, that you have to come up with a plan that allows you to accomplish this goal, if that's what you're looking for. A lot of y'all approach it nonchalantly, like, yeah, I want a man to take care of me. I want a man that's gonna buy a Mercedes and take me to Turks and Caicos, take me to Jamaica, take me to the Caymans. I want to go on trips all over the world. And you're like, okay, you want that, but you want that without going to work anymore. Who's this guy that can provide that? And then you have other things that you're looking for also, from a physical standpoint, from a personality standpoint. That makes it even more difficult. It's possible, but it's difficult. It's possible, and some people are going to achieve it. But for most people, what you're going to end up running into is, because for a lot of you, you have physical standards. This person needs to be this tall, they need to look like this, and you look like that. Then you have personality standards. These are the first things you usually see when you deal with somebody. So for most of you, you're going to run into guys that you're physically attracted to, that have good personalities that you're looking for, and then you're going to try to turn that person into the provider that you're looking for. This is what most people have done throughout their whole life. That's why they haven't found this person that they're looking for. Because if you have any physical standards, that's going to be the first thing you see. So you're going to pick people according to their physical standards. If you have personality standards, that's going to be the second thing you see. Then you're going to figure out where somebody is financially, because they can dress a certain way, drive a certain car, but it's going to take some time to really figure out where somebody is financially, and also figure out where their generosity level is. So for a lot of you, the situation you're going to find yourself in is, and you have over the years, I want somebody who is physically attractive. So that's the first thing you get. I want somebody with this type of personality. That's what you get. I want somebody with a certain level of status and style and all of this. That's what you get. Then you say, okay, I want this person to take care of me financially. I want them to be there for me, support me. Well, now that you're saying that, it's cool and everything, but that's far down on the list of what you wanted. It may have been at the top of the list, but as far as your choosing process, that's far down the list. So what you end up doing is trying to turn the person that you're physically attracted to into the person that pays your bills. You're trying to turn the person that you really like from a personality standpoint into the person that pays your bills. All right, let's see who's going to be the first person to send me a sticker. Also, you can hit me on my Cash App at AskChazz. That's Ask and then Chazz with 2 Z's. You know how it is. Somebody bless the Cash App. If y'all enjoying the chat, let me know what y'all thinking in the chat. Send some stickers. That's going to be the first person I call on, is the first person who sends me a sticker. You know I got to go into some of these shout outs. Y'all say what's up to your man Chazz Ellis one time. Some of y'all have not seen in a while, so it's good to see you again after a minute. Later on into the chat, we're going to get into some more questions. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Y'all can ask me whatever y'all need to ask me. Let's see who's here thus far. Okay, so somebody said only date providers. That doesn't mean he's rich. Men are providers. I mean, that's an opinion. I always might remind my daughter, who is 25 in grad school with no debt or children, to think about dating someone who is financially stable and capable of supporting a family. She says, hi, the guys ask those questions because they have a provider. Okay, the guys don't ask those questions because they have a provider mentality. It's normal to them. Sure. There are people, well, first of all, men ask all kinds of questions. They may not ask them to you out loud, but they ask them to themselves. You don't know what people ask internally. A lot of these comments here are really full of a lot of rhetoric and shaming language that doesn't really add up to anything. And I'm just being real with y'all. There's no offense to anybody, but that's just the way it is. For a lot of you, you have what you want in life and what you want to accomplish and what you think you should do as a woman. For instance, if I said, if your man is sitting there, if he comes in the door, should you automatically, when he sits down, take your shoes off? Should you give him a hot plate immediately? Should you make sure that the house is 100% clean, never ask him to change a diaper? For a lot of you, you're going to say yes to that, but some of you are going to say yes to try to prove a point. But in reality, that's not really how you think. You think of the things you need and want when you enter into a relationship. Because if you thought that way, you already would have been married 25 years. Let's be real here. If that's really how you are, you would have been married for 25 years. Even if you got divorced, you would have got married right away, right after. So the reality is, these people that you guys think exist, oh, they're not providers anyway. Where is this provider of all of your bills that you've already met and you're currently with right now? Most people are not with this person. This is something that you just decided to yourself. A man asks any questions. If a man has any mindset of what is going to be good and valuable for him, then let's come with these insults about the person or say they're not a provider or whatever. You can say whatever you want to. It sounds cool to put on the internet. But in reality, smart people who have money, especially in their 40s, do a cost-benefit analysis of everything. Yeah, if you'd have got that guy in his 20s, he probably wouldn't have asked those questions. You're right. But now you're in your 30s and 40s. The smart people, and when I say smart, I mean people who just think about what matters in terms of how they maintain their money and how they spend their money. The smart people are going to think about why they should get in a relationship with you, why they should spend their money on you. The people who don't think about that have already been married for 20 years supporting somebody. The people who don't think about that are maybe dealing with a wife who just died, maybe dealing with a divorce that just recently happened. And those people are going to be snatched up within a couple months if they don't already have somebody. There's a woman, that person that you guys are thinking about, if their wife dies on Monday, one of her friends, somebody who's a family friend, somebody who's been around the situation, they are diving on that opportunity on Wednesday. And that's what I was talking about when I said, how do you go about finding this person? A lot of y'all are not committed to the lifestyle. You want to use shaming tactics. You want to talk about what a real man would do, what a real provider would do, but you're not committed to the lifestyle. Just because if you want somebody who's going to provide for you, especially when you're 30s, 40s, and above, that means that you're going to have to either take somebody from somebody who already has them. You're going to have to get somebody based on the misfortune of someone else, i.e. death, or you're going to have to catch somebody who's coming out of a humbug divorce. They just had a wife who they got when she was 18, 19 years old. She thinks the grass is greener out there in the world. She decides to leave for that reason, and then you jump on that opportunity. Most people are not sitting around trying to do that. Most people who are in their 30s, 40s, and above are not trying to do that. And that's just the reality of it. You're not committed to the lifestyle the older you get. A lot of people who were committed to the lifestyle of trying to find somebody to take care of them, they already jumped on the opportunity and got a rising star or got someone who's older than them in their 20s. Even the ones that are going to be successful in their 30s, they're going to go find somebody who's 10, 12, 15 years older than them, and they're going to be the nice little young hot chick to that person, and they're going to get someone to take care of them. For a lot of y'all trying to get somebody who's the same age as you, 2 years older, and you're trying to find a reason for this person to take care of you. And when they don't want to do it, the first thing you come out with, well, you must not be a real provider. What does that matter? Okay, you won the argument, but is anybody taking care of you? No. So what did you win? Nothing. Your strategy is off in most cases because when I ask these questions, how is this person supposed to take care of you? Who is this person? What have you been doing with your life all this time? You think that somebody who can provide for you wouldn't ask, what have you been doing with your life for 30 years? Well, what does he do for a living? If he's not going to ask, what have you been doing with your life for 30 years that you cannot support yourself in your finances? What does he do for a living? He's not an accountant, that's for damn sure. He's not a business person, that's for damn sure. He's not a lawyer, that's for damn sure. He's not a doctor, that's for damn sure. These are people who are educated. So they're going to ask educated questions. So what does this person that doesn't ask these questions, what do they do for a living? Play basketball? You're 40 years old, you're 35 years old. What's the chances of you getting somebody who plays basketball? What they do, sell dope? That's a person who's in jail. By 30, 40 years old, the chances of you making it long enough to really make real money in that profession is almost zero. So what does this person who's not going to ask these questions do for a living at 30 or 40 years old? They're not going to ask these questions. Some of y'all live in a level of delusion because facing reality hurts, and understand that you have to have a strategy to get the things that you want. Some of you are in a position where you make enough money to where you don't need anyone to take care of you. Some of you are still in a position where you don't really have the job you want, which is fine. It's okay. You got a lot of debt and financial liability, and because you feel bad about it, you don't want to address it when thinking about getting with a new person. You don't got to admit this on this live stream, but let's be real. We know that's what it is in most of these cases. Because it's okay if you have debt. It's okay if you're not doing exactly the job you want to be doing. But you have to understand that people are going to ask these questions when taking on a new person who's in their 20s or who's in their 30s and 40s. When you're in your teens and 20s, no one's going to ask. When you say, oh, I need somebody who's going to pay my bills, I need somebody who's going to take care of me. If you're asking somebody who's 18, 19 years old, you're probably not going to find it. But if you're asking somebody who's a little older than you to take care of you, they're going to drop the money out without a problem. See, a 40-year-old man will drop $20,000 on a 20-year-old without a problem. But when you ask for that same money at 30 years old, the questions start coming up. Well, damn, why don't you have any money? Why are you still financially struggling at this age? You're 30-something years old, 40-something years old. Why are you still struggling? Why? Because now if I take you on, there's like in the NBA, they have a thing called replacement cost. All right, where basically they do analysis of how good you are and how much it would cost to replace you with somebody else. Like, how good are you as opposed to the person that will come in and replace you for less money? So if you're in your 30s or 40s as a woman or a man, I don't care what your situation is, you've either put yourself in a position where you have a whole bunch of assets, a whole bunch of bread coming in, and very little to no debt, or you put yourself in a position where you have less money coming in, fewer assets, and ridiculous amount of debt. If you are in the latter situation as a man, think about it from a woman's perspective. How many of you are wanting to deal with a man who has financial difficulties in his 30s and 40s? Most of you are like, no, I don't want to. Does that mean you're not a nurturer? How many of y'all want to get with a dude who is physically ill in his 30s or 40s? Most of y'all don't, if y'all being real. Does that mean you're not a nurturer? Does that mean you're not somebody that wants to be there for her man or take care of her man? No, it means you're not trying to get into a situation up front where you're putting more energy and effort into the relationship, not knowing exactly what you're going to get back. So as a woman, when you're 30, 40 years old and you're already in debt and you don't really have money coming in like you want to, your career path isn't really what you wanted it to be, you're going to be in a situation now where you're competing with people who are 25, 20 years old who are in your same situation, except for they haven't been able to accumulate the same amount of debt that you have. They don't have the same level of expense that you do. You're driving a car where your car payment is $1,200 a month, and they driving a car where theirs is $450. Do the math. That's simple mathematics. So now you have to say, what separates me from this person other than the fact that their finances are cheaper than mine? If I want someone to take care of my finances, what do I do at a level that's higher than this person? See, what a man does in those situations in most cases is they say, here's the good looking little young dude on the block. Here's the good looking little young dude on the block. I can't necessarily compete with him in terms of being good looking young dude. But here's where I am financially, and here's where he is financially. I can take this girl to Jamaica and, he got to get her a beef patty off the truck over here. Well, that evens it out quite a bit. And yeah, he might look a little better, and especially if the guy stays in shape physically. Women can do the same thing, but a lot of them don't do it. And when you can do it and you don't, that doesn't make much sense to me. When you're in a position where you just can't do it, like your finances are messed up, so you can't be a financial partner with anybody. Understandable. But you have to say, well, what else do I have? You got to take better care of yourself physically. Period. You have to have better skills as far as relationships go. You can't be communicating like you're 20 years old. You can't cook like you're 20 years old. You can't connect with family members like you're 20 years old. You have to do that like you're even older than you really are. If you're 30, you got to connect with family members like you're a 60-year-old grandma where everybody loves you the minute they meet you. You Miss Agnes from work. Oh, everybody love Miss Agnes. You got to be that at 30. You got to be ain't be cooking pies at 30 if you're $250,000 in debt. And you can easily be, that's all that is student loans. You might have house debt, car debt, credit card debt. It don't take nothing to be 250 grand in debt, especially if you make 60, 70, 80 grand. The more money you make, the quicker you can get in debt. So when you're in a situation where you got to have somebody paying them bills, you got to be right. You get what I'm saying? You got to be right, especially if you have a lot of bills to pay and you don't necessarily have the ability to contribute even to your own lifestyle financially. If you've got kids, you got 3, 4 kids, you can offset anything. You can offset anything. It's just, what do you have in another lane that offsets what you don't have in this lane? You can offset anything. Let me give you an example. A lot of people talk about these women who have children with these dudes, these basketball, football players, I guess multi-billionaires like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, no disrespect to anybody. But people talk about these women who have children by these guys with, these high profile guys. And they, you got low functioning and all this type of stuff that people say about these women. And you got women who say, I'll never deal with a man like that and all this kind of stuff. Well, you can overcome or offset anything. It's easy to say, I never mess with a man that got 5 kids by 3 different women. Or I never mess with a man that got 8 kids by 4 different women. It's real easy to say that. Until, in your mind would say that. Just like a dude might say, I would never mess with a woman who's $250,000 in debt. That's smart. But when you actually meet the real person, you can offset the fact that you have that problem just the way that they do. Okay, I got 8 kids by 4 women. Crazy. But I'm making some M's, and anyone who's in a relationship with me is going to experience high-level financial stability. They're going to get to experience all the things that you would if basically you won the lottery. If we don't make it and we break up, you got $20,000 to $40,000 a month in child support. What people don't understand is $40,000 a month in child support is over $1 million. Now, before somebody come along and corrects my math, how much do you pay in taxes when you make $1 million? Most people work for a living. So if you're paying taxes based on earned income, that's about half your money, because most people live in a place where you have state income taxes also. So that's about half. You might as well say half your money go. At least half. And then no matter what, it takes some money to make money. So for a person who's getting $40,000 a month in child support, they're basically living $1 million, a little bit above $1 million lifestyle. So that offsets all of the comments they're going to get about how stupid they are for having a baby by a dude that's already got 7 kids. Their family and friends are not going to be saying that. That's something y'all saying on the internet. That's something people talking about in barbershops. I promise you, their family and friends are not saying how stupid they are. You're not going to sit here being a regular person like most people are. You're making $30,000 to $60,000 a year. Your family member is making basically $1 million a year. They got $1 million in spending power. And you're going to sit here and go, you dumb for having a baby. You're low functioning for having a baby by this dude. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? You want this person to still keep liking you. You want this person to still stay cool with you because they got $1 million, over $1 million in spending power. So that's how they offset it. They say, well, yeah, I got all these kids. When a woman meets me initially, of course she's gonna be like, I ain't trying to be with this type of person. Then they go fly private to another country. The wheels start turning in. Well, damn. Yeah, people was telling me that I shouldn't mess with this person, but I'm taking pictures on the private. They take one of their homegirls with them that would normally say, you shouldn't mess with this dude. He got all these kids. He, all this kind of stuff. They take the homegirl on a private with him. Hey, he said you could come too, girl. Yeah, you should mess with him. I don't care what they talking about, all them kids and stuff like that. He take care of them. The whole conversation is going to change. The whole conversation is going to change completely when you're in a position where you can help the friends, family members, and everything. If you got 3 kids, 3 baby daddies, and you got debt, but you make some fire ass chicken for him and his friends, now the friends over here eating the chicken like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, but them 3 kids well behaved though. Them 3 kids, they ain't even that, you know what I'm saying? They mannerly. They gonna eat that food and have a totally different attitude. If you walking around looking good and everything like that, and you got a couple friends, well, I was gonna hook you up with her friend. No, she good, bro. She good. I don't even care about taking care of no kids, bro. You know me, I love kids. And I love the kids. There's a whole different attitude. You can offset anything, but if you don't acknowledge it, how can you offset it? When all you think about is using shaming tactics instead of trying to deal with your issues, how do you offset them? What's up? H-Town gal. CG, I got the name. You are breaking this down. Excellent work. Agree with you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Also, thank you for the $9.99. For the 99 in the 2000s. I know if I drop that beat on here, everybody would be like, Who remember that? Put a thumbs up if you know what the song is. All right, let me go to the comments. I gotta put my glasses on because I know some of y'all like, why don't you wear your contacts? I don't want to. Stop being like that. Okay, let's work our way up. RAKBC is like LOL. Quicksilver Jewelry. Do you sell jewelry online? Queen Silver Jewelry, my bad. Queen Silver Jewelry, do you sell jewelry online? Hey Jack, hey Chazz, first time catching you live. Thank you. I knew I didn't know you. Ha. Dana Latifah said taxes equal bend over. You ain't never lied. Them taxes, boy. And it's no way out. It's no way out. I know y'all got a whole lot of people that's online telling you this is how you cannot pay. Stop it. It's no way out. There's no way out. You gonna pay the taxes. Diamonds, pearls, big houses. Jaguar Andy. Chazz, what's up, my dude? What's up with you? Older equals closer to death. Most of the time. For sure. But it also, you don't have an expiration date. We don't know exactly when we're gonna die. But yeah, for the most part, it does equal closer to death. Oh, okay, H-Town gal, I didn't know that. My husband passed away unexpectedly in May. I'm 44 and he was 56. He was truly amazing. We always looked out for each other. Men have to ask me out and commit after. Oh, look, okay, so I'm trying to say, men have asked me out right after the funeral. I bet you they did. I bet you they did ask you out right after the funeral. You say I'm 44, your husband was 56. It's people that's been waiting to ask you out the whole time you were married. They was just like, I'm gonna try to be respectful. I'm not gonna take it to the max. I'm not gonna be the type of person who gonna look like a sucker. But they probably was feeling you the whole time. If I can ask, H-Town Gal, how old were you when you met your husband? Like met him, not when you got married, but how old were you when you met him? All right, look. So a lot of times what happens in life is we don't really look for what offsets certain things. We don't look at because we don't want to accept our lives, right? A lot of times we don't want to accept the fact that, maybe we got a little older, didn't really get our money right. Hey, y'all can hit me on that Cash App at AskChazz. That's 2 Z's. A lot of times we don't want to accept the fact that maybe we made some decisions in our lives and they ain't really come together right. Maybe we don't want to accept the fact that our physical situation may not be where somebody else's is. It's like if you're a dude and women say they want a guy who's this tall and taller than them, and maybe you might only be 5'1". You could still get girls at 5'1". You don't have to suffer and be just totally without just because you're 5'1". Work out more. Get your money right. Get your game right. You can have the same success as anyone else. Offset what you don't have. A lot of people don't like to accept the fact that there are things that you do not have and you need to offset some of the things that are deficits in your life. Okay, I'm 35 and I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. I don't own anything. I got credit card bills. I got bad relationships. I got friendships that ain't really hitting right. This is where I am, and I'm in my 30s. So what's my next move? Cry about it, get mad at people who don't want to date me, complain about my life, get on the internet and make videos about how men ain't this and men ain't that? Is that what I want to do with my next 20 to 30 years? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because it's not even necessary. What you want to do is build up, and this is why I talked about this in this conversation. If provision from a man is what you still want, and you don't have the means to provide for yourself at a certain age, instead of feeling bad, instead of saying, well, you should just take me in anyway, what you do instead is you say, nah, I'm going to gain a lot of the things that men want. I'm going to gain a lot of the things that men are attracted to outside of finance. And I know I'm also going to be ready to pounce on whatever dudes are naturally willing to provide for the woman that they're with. That means if their wife pass away, that's sad. We feel bad. But I'm going to be right there at the funeral. I don't care what nobody say. If they get a divorce or breakup, I'm right on it. Because I know that this is what I got to do. I got to commit to the lifestyle. If you got your bread, don't let somebody who doesn't have bread tell you who you should choose. Some of y'all got money to stand on, and y'all still out here worried about how much money the dude you got has, and you don't even need it. You don't even need it. I'm just being real. Like, some of y'all don't even need it. You don't want to be at home. You don't really even accept stuff from dudes half the time anyway. You gotta, pick the relationship you want. Don't let somebody else tell you what to want. Everybody gotta be able to want what they want, and they've got to engage in a relationship that they're looking for. Yes, those short, fat, balding execs will testify you don't have to be 6'2" and handsome. Hell no, you don't got to be 6'2" and handsome. You could be 5'1" and handsome. You could be 5'1" and ugly. You could be 5'1" broke and ugly. Just because you don't have certain things doesn't mean that you can't pick out other things. Just because you don't have money, just because you don't have looks, doesn't mean you don't have an ability to connect personally with people. Yeah, a lot of women might be like, I'd never date somebody with that meets the description that you just put out there. Of course, that may be their first initial feeling. But then when they meet the person, they start talking to them, their attitude is totally different. There's going to be people who are interested in them just because their personality is so good. I know people say, oh, well, nobody dates for personality. Yes, they do. They don't broadcast it. They don't broadcast it. You see somebody with a 3 and they're like a 8 or a 9 or whatever. They might even be a 10. And you're like, what? And you find out the person's not even rich. They're going to be like, oh, well, they're cute to me. They look good to me. You know, that's the thing. But really, they're like, that person had a personality that I liked. And, you know, that's just the way it went. That's how people are. If the thing is, everybody has what they feel like they want. They have a wish list in their mind. Everybody has a wish list in their mind. That does not mean that they don't date outside of that wish list. And most of the time, they really don't feel like they're settling. The people who talk about settling the most are usually single. I'm going to say that again. The people who talk about settling the most are usually single. Most of the time, when you are in a relationship with somebody and you are happy because that person is making you happy, they may not have anything that you put on your list. You don't feel like you're settling in that relationship because you're having those moments and you don't feel like, why would you feel like you're settling if you're smiling all the time? A person who's smiling not gonna feel like, oh, I'm settling for this person. I wanted somebody 6'2", but they're only 6 feet. They're only 5'8". You're not gonna feel like that if you're smiling. You're not gonna feel like that if they blowing your back out. You're not gonna feel like that if you're sitting around hugging and petting on them and having good conversation. You're not gonna feel like you're settling. That's unrealistic. That's just something that people say because this is what we got to realize also. A lot of people just want to shoot holes in other people's relationships because they don't have one. Oh, you settling for this person? I wouldn't want, you know, it's like the dude, right? The dudes that I know who have the highest standards have never had a woman in recorded history. They claim they had women, but it's people that I've known my entire life who have the highest standards, and never in my life have I seen them with a girl. Like, I've never seen them in a relationship with a girl. Ever. Make that make sense. All right, send me some stickers, guys. All you got to do is hit the cash symbol. And stickers will come forth. Support the chat. Show me that you got some love for me. It also makes YouTube put these chats out to other people. If you don't hit the stickers, if you don't comment a whole lot, then they don't put them out for other people to see. They just bury me. They be like, they don't like you, Chazz. They ain't even sending you no stickers. That's how it works. Also, you can cash at me on AskChazz on Cash App. That's AskChazz with 2 Z's. All right, so we're at the portion where you guys can start asking me some questions. I know some of y'all got your little questions that you want to ask. Comments, questions, statements. It's all about how much a person is willing to tolerate. You're not wrong. I think it's the person too. Like most people, if they feel happy, you're gonna tolerate a lot more. Like, let's be real. There's what you have in your mind. Like, okay, this is a perfect example. I'm not trying to be funny, but I was talking to one of my homeboys, and I can't remember the girl's name. Y'all, if y'all got it in the comment section, y'all please put it in there because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I can't remember her name. It was this attractive young woman. I'm gonna say woman, attractive young woman who was dating Rick Ross. No disrespect, but I was talking to one of my homeboys, and he was like, "Why would anybody that look like her date Rick Ross?" I was looking like, what? What do you mean? He was like, nah, man, I mean, she could get other rich dudes. She's really good looking. She could get other rich dudes. Why would you want to date somebody that look like Rick Ross? For people who don't know, Rick Ross is obviously heavier dude and, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, maybe she could get people who got more money. Maybe those people are maybe not more money, but maybe she could get people who are better looking who also have money. But the reality is, dude might have kicked game to her. He might have been the one to holler at her. She might have been in a better situation. He might have been in a better situation. It might have been a situation where they clicked. It didn't have to be, oh, well, this is what you look like. What's her name? Christina Mackey. Okay, that's okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. You've been on. Okay. You've been on it. H-Town gal, once again, appreciate you. Yeah. A lot of times it's just the fact that they could have had a connection. Yeah, she probably could have got somebody with money, and maybe we would have felt like they looked better. But that doesn't mean that she can't connect with somebody like Rick Ross and have a great relationship with him. People look at it from the perspective of looks are everything. What the person looks like or what the person has. Like somebody got to have every single thing in order for somebody to have a relationship with them. There are people who have been married, and I don't want to do nothing disrespectful, but there are men and women who are married to people and been married for 20 years. And sometimes these are people who are the most handsome, the most attractive people in the entertainment industry, even not even just in the regular world. Like they're the most attractive amongst the most attractive. And when you look at the person that they're married to, man or woman, they're not all that in terms of physical appearance, and they don't even have money. It's like neither one of y'all had money when you met, and you could have left whenever you wanted to because now you're a multi-millionaire, but they didn't. And a lot of that is because when people are happy somewhere and they're not thinking about what's happening outside the world, a lot of times they don't care what a person looks like or any of that. What's up, James? Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for blessing the Cash App. Appreciate you, my man. Oh, man. That's deep, bro. How does one get over the feeling of getting the short end of the stick after you take someone back and become bitter as time goes by? It's very easy when you take somebody back to become bitter because there's a reason why you guys were split up in the first place. And normally whenever you take somebody back, that's going to at some point rear its ugly head. They're going to usually, and not always, but usually take on some of the same behavior that you ended up breaking up over in the first place. And most of the time, you're going to get the quote unquote short end of the stick. But I'm going to tell y'all some real stuff. And I hope this doesn't seem glib, but I'm going to tell you some real stuff. When you are in a relationship, it ain't but a few things you really get out of it. Companionship, somebody to chill with, somebody to talk to, some sexual healing, whatever financial connection or resources, somebody to go places with, somebody to have on holidays and weekends. These are really only things you get out of a relationship at the end of the day. We can call it all kind of stuff. You might get some kids out of it or something like that. But these are what you really get out of a relationship when it's all said and done. Let's be real. And since that's what you get out of a relationship when it's all said and done, for the most part, if you got any of those things, don't be upset. You know, it's not your girl or your guy, it's your turn. And if you got the most out of that moment, what are you mad at? We only do this for relationships. If you get a car, you drive that car, everything cool with the car, you get all the mileage out of you, takes you back and forth to work and all that kind of stuff, that car is going to break down at some point in time. Or you're going to sell it and get another one, whatever. Are you mad? Or do you go, well, damn, you know what? I got what I wanted out of the car. When you eat a meal, if you got full, you enjoyed the meal, you don't get mad because the meal is over. You bought a meal, you ate it, you enjoyed it. The meal is over now. You know, get up and go, you know, chill, do something, and then buy another meal at some point. But a lot of times we feel bad when we feel like we got the short end of the stick in a relationship because, first of all, you did some stuff you probably didn't want to do. But let's be real. You did it so you could be around the person. You did it so you could smash. You did it so you could have companionship. You did it so that you could get the things that you probably got. You got most of the things that you wanted to get in most cases. Let's be real. Maybe it wasn't as long as you thought it was going to be, but you still got it. And I tell women this and men this. If you got some of what you wanted out of a relationship, then that means that the time you spent, the money you spent, the energy you spent was worth it. Because what else would you have been doing other than trying the same thing with somebody else? If you bought so-and-so, whatever you bought them, and y'all chilled, talked for a little while, had some good times, you were probably going to spend that money and buy somebody else that same stuff. If you let somebody hit, you probably had a good time. Otherwise, you wouldn't have kept letting them hit. So where is the anger coming from? A lot of times it's really coming from we feel like we are somewhat embarrassed because we didn't get as much of it as we would have wanted, and we feel like somebody one-upped us. Like a lot of times we get in a relationship and we try to compare what we got in a relationship compared to what we gave. We try to look at it like a business deal. We try to be like, okay, well, damn, I bought this, I bought that. They didn't buy me any of those things. Man, I did this, I did that. They never did any of that for me. Okay, so what? But you got what you wanted to get for however long. You got what you wanted to get. So that's a really good question, James, because a lot of people feel the same way as you. Or, you know, even if that's not you specifically, but just a question you're asking. A lot of people feel that way. They are mad. They are bitter and angry about relationships after they break up. And a lot of that is because we think things are going to last forever, but nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Whatever you got out of a situation, that's what you got to be grateful for. That's what you got to be happy about. I got some bread out of this situation. I got some good loving out of this situation. I got to hang out with somebody. We chilled and had good times. Remember that. That's what you want to remember. We had some good times and it was worth it. Otherwise, you're going to always be mad. Because nothing's ever going to be exactly what you wanted it to be. Nothing's ever going to be what you wanted to get. That's never going to happen. In all the time you live on planet Earth, you are never going to get everything out of a situation that you wanted to get. It's not going to happen. But when you look at it and you say, damn, I got a lot though. I really did get what I was looking for. Maybe not as much of it, but I got what I was looking for. And if I was happy for 2 days, that was worth it. Because what else would I have been doing? Well, that's what you'd have been doing anyway, is pursuing some level of happiness. Everybody go ahead and hit the like button also. Make sure you hit the likes. If you guys send stickers, hit the likes. That tells YouTube that y'all messing with me. They're going to send it out to you. They're going to send these videos out to you more. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. Appreciate you, James. He said, that's why you're the man. I appreciate that, bro. It's more important for a woman to look good in order to keep a man, true or false? Well, either one of them need to look good. That's a good question. Either one of them need to look good to some degree. If you want to keep somebody, this is what I always say. And it's really cliche, but it's true. What did you do to get that person? And not only that, what would you do to get someone else if you broke up? So I see people do this a lot. This is some trend I see on the internet. People will go, my breakup journey, broke up with this person, lost all this weight, broke up with this person, started my career, focused on my career, broke up with this person, did this, did that. And it's like, maybe the relationship could have been a little bit better if you'd have done some of that stuff in the relationship. So what I suggest to anybody in their relationship is ask yourself a real question. If we broke up today, would I be able to get somebody equal to or better? Because if I want to break up with this person, right, would I be able to get somebody better than this person based on my current situation? Like, just if they just met me, if they was looking, scrolling down profiles on dating apps or on Instagram, whatever, would I be able to get somebody equal to or better than what I have based on what I got going on from a physical standpoint, just physical? Then you say, from a personality standpoint, the way I'm treating the person that I'm currently with, would I be able to get somebody new treating them the same way as I'm treating the person that I'm currently with? Is my attitude acceptable for the type of person that I want? Or would I have to change it? Is the way that I'm providing for this person acceptable, or would I have to get more? If that's the case, if you got to say no to any of those things, then those are things you need to work on in the relationship. Why put yourself in a position where you break up with somebody and it takes you 10 or 2 or 3 years to get to the point, sometimes 10, but 2 or 3 years to get to the point where you're actually market ready? When you break up with the person you're with, and then you don't even want to put pictures on a dating site because you don't feel like you look good. I see people put pictures that's 10, 15 years old on a dating site because they don't feel like they look good now. Well, damn. A lot of times you're the person who broke up with that other person. So why wouldn't you have kept yourself up enough in that relationship? And this is not down to anybody, but it's something to think about. Even if you have fallen off a bit, yeah, I might need to up my game, because if I'm not good enough as far as my whole situation is concerned to attract somebody, if me and this person broke up, to attract somebody of the same or greater value, then what makes me think I'm in a good enough situation to keep them? What's to stop them from just wanting to be like, all right, I'm good? All right. Hit me with some stickers before we get up out of here, and I'll answer one more question. Also, make sure you like. Let's get it up to like 20 likes. Even if you do it when the chat is over, make sure we get this up to 20 likes. Everybody push the like button if you haven't already. RAKBC, what's up from Hawaii? What's up, lovely Ava? You guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. Also, if you got something you want me to talk about on the next live, put that in the chat. Leah said that's the question. That wasn't the question I was referring to, and I don't have any debt. Okay. Nobody has debt on the internet, though. Everybody is a millionaire with 7 streams of income on the internet. I don't really ask anybody about their personal situation like that. And the reason why I don't is because it's the internet. It's the internet. I don't talk about how much money I have or don't have on the internet, because if I'm trying to tell you how much money I got or something like that, I'm probably trying to sell you a course. This is how you make money doing blah, blah, blah. 9 times out of 10, if a person really was making money doing whatever it is they're trying to tell you to do, they wouldn't tell you how to do it. If a person really making $1 million doing whatever it is they're telling you to do, they would not tell your ass how to do it. They would continue to make $1 million and do it in silence. I give out relationship advice because it does not affect me if you win in relationships. It doesn't affect me if you win when it comes to relationships. I'm not losing anything. If I have some advice to get $1 million, $1 billion in the next year, I'm certainly not going to give that shit to y'all. No disrespect, but I'm just being real. And I don't believe anybody else really is. All right, is that all we got? All right, appreciate everybody for coming out. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Peace.